On this week's episode of Teachers Off Duty Podcast, we are going to be talking about things teachers should say yes to and things they should say no to. So check it out.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Teachers Off Duty. I am Leslie Robb, and with me are...
Gabe Dannenbring.
And Tyler Jackowski.
Yes, be sure to follow us on social media. I'm Leslie Robb Comedy.
I'm Gabe Dannenbring at Gabe Dannenbring at G-Unit24.
And I'm fishing for clout.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
It just doesn't add up. It doesn't match
fishing for
at all.
clout, G-Unit. It's just like,
is that your handle is G-Unit?
Well, when I made my social media, I wanted to be like anonymous. I didn't think it'd turn into what it is.
Oh.
And growing up, my nickname was G-Unit. Oh. So I was like G-Unit. Then for the number, I'm a huge NASCAR fan and love Jeff Gordon. Like he's my guy. So I'm like, let's go G-Unit24.
Yeah.
And then the first video I post gets 40-some million views. And I'm stuck with G-Unit.
Was that the one with the visor?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so
TikTok
funny.
Oh,
I love that one.
One video changed my
That
life.
was great.
So that kicked
That's
it.
beautiful.
Yeah. So now that's what it is. What's fishing for clout?
I was going to be a fishing account.
Are you a fisher guy?
I grew up fishing.
Oh.
No way.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
would have never thought that was what that was.
I grew up fishing.
Bass
every
Pro
single
Shop
day.
regular Tyler over here.
This episode is brought to you by...
That is awesome.
I'm the guy that jumps into the fish tank in Bass Pro Shops.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm the
The
psychopath.
guy who was naked jumping
Oh
into
my
that.
gosh.
But what's even funnier than that?
Well, as you can tell, though, guys, like, clearly you're going to get a laugh out of any of us.
Of course.
But the best place to get a laugh is at the Board Teachers Comedy Tour. The Struggle is Real is on tonight, guys. Mm-hmm. It's in Erie, Pennsylvania tonight, okay? And don't worry, if you're not in Erie, Pennsylvania, but you still want to catch a show, here's how you do it. So for the rest of September, we will be in Syracuse, New York, Dayton, Ohio, South Bend, Indiana, Grand Rapids, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Baltimore, Maryland, York, Pennsylvania, and Reading, Pennsylvania. In October, okay, we're going to be in Vancouver, Canada, Honolulu, Hawaii, Providence, Rhode Island, Waterbury, Connecticut, Medford, Massachusetts, Concord, New Hampshire, Lexington, Kentucky, Columbus, Ohio, Northfield, Ohio, and Charleston, West Virginia. Taking it to November. Mm-hmm. In November, we'll be in Glenside, Pennsylvania, Huntington, New York, Montclair, New Jersey, Easton, Pennsylvania, Champaign, Illinois, Peoria, Illinois, Chicago, Illinois, Indianapolis, Indiana, Charlottesville, Virginia, Tyson, Virginia, and Red Bank, New Jersey. That is for the 2024. But guess what, guys? It does not stop there.
Of course not.
Okay.
Why would
Why?
it? It would
Why
make
would
no
it stop?
sense.
That makes no
Yes.
sense.
No.
Okay, because tickets are now on sale for the 2025
Whoa!
tour. Yes,
Crash
guys.
out, Tyler.
Whoop, whoop. Exactly.
Whoa! Throw the fake plant. For those listeners,
Crash it out.
Tyler just grabbed the fake plant and about assaulted Leslie with it.
Whipping
Pretty
the plants
much.
around.
So when he meant crash out, he literally crashed out.
Of course.
Okay, so here's the thing, guys. For the 2025 dates, in January, we're in Ocean City, Maryland, Virginia Beach, Virginia, Durham, North Carolina, Charleston, South Carolina, Monterey, California, Stockton, California, Davis, California, Reading, California, okay, Paducah, Kentucky, Chesterfield, Missouri, Effingham, Illinois, say that without laughing, Van Wert, Ohio. Then in February, we're transitioning, guys, overseas. To yes.
Crazy.
And not
Love
just overseas. We're going where you can get some water and tea and crumpets.
Oh.
We are going to the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
Okay?
So offensive. That's so funny.
Where we'll be in London, Glasgow, Birmingham, and Manchester. Oh, yeah.
That's
For the
big.
rest of February, we'll be in Fresno, California, Bakersville, California, Las Vegas, Nevada, Phoenix, Arizona. And then in March, we go to Kalispell, Montana, Spokane, Washington, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon, Chattanooga, Tennessee, Birmingham, Alabama, Huntsville, Alabama, and Nashville, Tennessee, guys.
Hell
so
yeah.
you have plenty of opportunities to catch the Board Teachers Comedy Tour, okay? Now, here's the thing. All right, guys, I just felt like I was just doing attendance.
Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
You basically were.
Okay,
You did a
now,
great job.
attendance is something that I am terrible about when it comes to school, okay?
Oh, God.
I am terrible. Y'all, the poor school secretary, I know I'm on her bad list.
Yeah.
She calls me. She
We all
emails me. She is like, Leslie, do your attendance,
Yep.
okay? Now, okay, those are one of the things that we should say yes to. Am I right?
Of course.
Yeah, we want to say yes to the school secretary because you never want the school secretary on your bad side.
And they're almost
okay?
always
Or
right.
the janitors.
Whew.
Oh.
No,
Or the janitors.
never.
Anything but the janitors.
Okay, you don't want them on your bad side, so always say yes to them.
Of course. Of course.
Always say yes to them.
Do them a favor.
All right, but there's
need
times
it.
that we should say yes, but there's also times that we should say no.
Say no to drugs.
That for sure. Dare.
Specifically drugs.
Dare. Did you guys have the dare program?
Dare to resist.
Yes.
Of course we had.
Did you know the studies of the DARE program actually showed that it encouraged young males to do drugs?
Stop it!
There's so many studies that said the just say no, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, encouraged young males to be like, screw you, I'm gonna go do it because you said no.
Well, I'm
They
not
should've
gonna
told me
lie.
not to.
When they brought in the drunk goggles and they had you try to run around, that was the most fun I've ever had in my
It's
whole
like virtual
life.
reality.
I literally went like right into a tree and almost broke my nose, and I was like, "This sounds great. I'm gonna do this weekend." And then there's me, like a 7th grader, nightmare fuel.
Oh man.
No, it's like
man.
it literally does the polar opposite of what it's supposed to do.
Oh, I
That was
totally
a
get
joke,
it.
by the way. Everybody relax.
Did everybody have a dare graduation? And you had to sing the song at the dare graduation?
there was a song?
Yeah.
I didn't
Pretty
know
sure
that.
half the kids
Yeah.
in my middle school were smoking weed, so I think we all lost.
Yeah.
I'm
I
pretty
mean,
sure.
literally, the resistance did not stick.
Yeah, no.
Oof.
No,
we
for
didn't
sure.
resist anything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but here's the thing. I've learned as a teacher, this is my 17th year of teaching, if you guys can believe it. And I have learned not to be a convenience store. And I know that sounds kind of crazy because a convenience store is everything to everybody.
It's convenient.
It is
Yeah,
convenient.
it's very convenient.
I have learned to be a specialty shop or a boutique because a specialty shop or a boutique, somebody who knows what they're good at and they stick to that and let that be enough.
I'm good at showing Bill Nye.
Leslie with the metaphors.
I mean, I'm just kind of proud of that.
What in the world?
I just wanted to insert
Yeah,
that.
that's kind of wild. Did you just think of that?
No.
I was gonna.
I would be.
I'm like, if she's
quite-
just cracking these out like this, we gotta
yes.
up the ante.
Oh yeah, the wisdom just
God.
flows out
She's
of me.
a poet right
Yeah.
now.
I view myself as an ocean, and sometimes the ocean is blue, and sometimes there's sharks swimming in it. And Tyler, you know what I'm saying.
I am.
you
at,
got it.
I'm at best a Honda Civic.
I love it.
Somebody who drives a Honda Civic is like, bro,
Yeah.
I love my Honda
I'm like a
Civic.
half
Exactly.
cut off spoiler, and that's pretty much all
Yes.
I'll ever be.
So,
No.
so as teachers, not only do we need to say no to drugs,
Yes.
we need to say no to different things that we are asked to do. There's some things that we say no to, and some things that we should say yes to.
Yes.
I think the thing is, like, imagine teaching if you only did your job.
Ooh.
How many
that'd be
things?
so
like,
nice.
if you think about, like, okay, you walk in and you just do your job. How much are you taking away from your day? Because especially, like, I've been in public school, I've been in private school, I've been in Catholic school, I've done all of it, and when I was in Catholic school, it really was kind of like free reign for them to ask you to do whatever they wanted. And I literally have done the most like odd job stuff at my school. Like I painted the walls at my first school.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Like
Did
I
they pay you
helped
for
with-
it?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Now that's
Not-
impressive.
Not enough. But they like had me painting the walls. I was like cleaning the floors. I was like helping out with maintenance and stuff like this.
Oh, wow.
And it was weird, but at the same time, you don't think to be like, should I be doing this?
Were they transitioning you from being a teacher to being a custodian?
They were probably trying to.
Every month, like, we're going to take away one of your classes, and then instead of that class, we're going to have you help with cleaning lunch tables.
They're like, hey,
until all of a
Tyler,
sudden you're a full-time custodian.
How do you
Right.
feel about toilets? And I'm like, you know what? Not opposed. And they're like, get in there. We, got a
We love
plunger
our
for you.
custodians.
They're like,
Custodians
take
work-
this plunger and go get to work.
Ah.
No, but it's like, I don't know. I feel like it's very common for first year, second year, even third year teachers to just get utilized for things that make no sense.
Yeah.
And I think that there's this stigma of like, if you say no to something, you're not like a team player. When in reality, it's like you got to be a team player to yourself at some point.
Yeah.
Right? It's like I know for sure that my first year of teaching, I just did too much. Like so my first year of teaching was ridiculous. I was doing that job that I talked about a couple episodes back where I was doing science, technology, religion, engineering, arts, math, and writing for grades K2 through 6, which on its own is too much. Like, that should be the end of that sentence.
For the most veteran teacher, that's
exactly.
a lot.
It's
for
ridiculous.
sure.
I had like 90 students. You know, which doesn't seem like a lot then, but it's like in these Catholic schools, I have so many different classes. The thing is, it's like all those different curriculums, but on top of the job, I was also working the after school program. I was watching the breakfast area in the cafeteria in the morning. So I'd get there before school and watch breakfast. I would do my job. I would be after school for the after school program. And then this was also when I was getting my master's degree. So I would get to the school at like 6:30. I would leave the school after I was done with the after school program at like 5:30. And then I would be at my college doing classes from like 6 to 10.
Oh my gosh.
Every single day, you know? And that was because I needed to rush the master's degree so I can do it in 1 year so that it was free. And it was a nightmare. It was supposed to be like a 2.5 year long program. So that was the entire first year, but I kept saying yes to things. And part of it is like, I didn't get paid enough to just live.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
like if I'm going to be buying books for this master's degree, if I'm going to be paying rent, if I'm going to be buying groceries, being able to afford having a car in Boston, it's like I needed to do these extra jobs. So there's a certain point where you kind of can't say no, but knowing the difference between having an option or not is huge for younger teachers because you will get taken advantage of.
Guys, I just found out about this amazing teaching hack that is going to save you your sanity and time. If you're tired of spending hours on lesson plans, grading and creating resources, all that stuff that just drives us nuts as teachers, you're going to want to hear about Brisk Teaching. Brisk Teaching is a totally free Google extension designed to make your life a whole lot easier because as teachers, man, we got to have things be easier for us because we got a lot on our plate. Imagine saving 10 hours a week. Yes, you heard that right. 10 hours that you could be spending maybe going home on time, maybe watching your favorite shows. Yeah, is that too crazy? Not with Brisk Teaching. Need to whip up a lesson plan or create some engaging resources? It is a total breeze. You click that little Brisk button on any Google page and it is right there. You can create digital or printable assessments, projects, or check-ins from YouTube videos or articles or any sort of video or educational resource that you want. Speaking of articles, if you need to change the reading level or language of any article, you can quickly adjust it with one simple click, which is awesome. And long gone are the days where you're spending hours and hours on giving students feedback on their writing because that is exhausting and we don't have time for that. With one effective click of the Brisk button, you are automatically given students detailed, timely responses that are completely editable by you. So if you're ready to free up some time, maybe work within those contracted hours for once and enhance your teaching, head to briskteaching.com and download Brisk Teaching for free today. It's time to work smarter, not harder. We're teachers after all. Head to briskteaching.com and get started using Brisk for free today. And there's a number of times that teachers, because we don't get paid a ton of money, and we will do whatever we can to make an extra buck. Teachers do whatever they can to make more money.
Of course.
We have a hard time saying no because it's like, hey, I need to have this money.
Yeah.
However, there's times that the money is not worth it.
Oh,
One
yeah.
of those
Oh, no.
things for me is lunch duty.
Yep.
Oh, my
Lunch
gosh,
duty
yeah.
is not worth it for me. For
Yeah.
some people, it is. Love you for that. Thank you so much for doing lunch duty. I need the 27 minutes to decompress.
Yeah.
I need my time. It's not because I can go without eating lunch. Most days I do go without eating lunch.
Sure.
I just physically need the time to have 28 minutes to take a break and decompress because
100%.
teaching is so emotionally exhausting. And then there's other times that teachers, we teach back to back to back to back to back. Let's say there was an issue with the printer and we weren't able to get something printed.
Yep.
What do you do?
You're screwed.
Or if something breaks and you have to go get a new version of whatever it is, you're stuck.
And you get a
Yeah.
surprise observation that day.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
gosh,
You're fired.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So teachers, their lunch break isn't just to eat food. It's to take a little bit of a break and turn it into 15 minutes of a planning period to go take care of your stuff.
well, one thing that used to like ruin my day when I was teaching that first school was, so let's say like on Tuesdays, I think we went to gym. And the way that would work is we would get everyone in the classroom, they'd be chilling for a little bit, and then we'd go to gym. The gym was like the community center that was down the street. So if gym started at 9, I have to get them all up, lined up, jackets, whatever, and we're walking over there. So I drop them off at 9, and then I have to walk back. So 10 minutes of my prep is walking there and back.
Yeah.
So then I end up with, instead of 30 minutes of a prep period, I end up with 20 minutes of a prep period. And then there's always that one kid that shows up a little bit later, and you're like,
Right. And now you're going to
let's go. So you go run this kid to the other side, and then you get back and you find yourself with like maybe 10 minutes. At the best case scenario, you get 10 minutes to yourself. And that was more common than not.
Yeah.
And then there's always that one teacher that's like popping in, and it's like, okay, let's do this conversation right now because there's no other time that we could do this. And you don't want to be like that rude teacher, but at the same time, it's like, we don't know how to speak up for ourselves a lot of the time. Until it's really bad, we do not know how to speak up for ourselves.
Well, and the thing is when you said duty, you said that you don't do lunch duty. So you're not on a circulation like in your school?
So they first ask for volunteers.
Okay.
And then if the spots don't get filled, then you get voluntold. Voluntold. Hey, you're doing lunch duty today.
No. Yeah, because
yeah.
I was going to say, I don't think I've ever had the option to pick my duty.
And a lot of people have said that.
Yeah.
A lot of people have said, I've never had the option to not do lunch duty.
Now, that's one thing that you can't say yes or no to because you have no choice, basically, because they give you this whole explanation of how it's in your contract.
Yeah.
Because they say that there's that part of your contract that says, and other duties necessary for success of the job or something like that.
You sign on the dotted
line. And so
line.
then you're like, basically you signed that.
Yep.
So it's like you get these duties and it's like, okay, well, when am I supposed to have a break?
Yeah.
Like, and it's crazy, especially on days where you don't get a break at all because during your one planning is your duty.
Yeah.
So you're literally gone all day and not having a second.
Yeah.
I just like, I don't know. I think to myself, like, I had no time my first year teaching. And yet somehow I gave so much time to my job. You know, like getting home at 10:30 after I got out of class and then having to like get stuff prepared for the next day because I can't get in there any earlier than 6:30. The school like opened up at 6:15 and then I had to go do the breakfast duty. And it's like, so I'm bringing home work at 10:30, working on it while I have like this super late dinner and then going to bed insanely late. And it's like, it's amazing to me how much I normalized that process. And I think the thing that we need to like clarify in this is that's not normal.
No.
It's not. It's super not normal. And I didn't benefit from it at all. I got no pat on the back. I got no like piece of paper saying like good work.
You never got a pay raise for it?
No. My pay raise was like $30.
Well, and the teacher guilt that it gets associated with it because, like, for example, like you were talking about earlier, like, as a new teacher, like, I'm already excited because of the fact, and not just a new teacher, but a teacher in general, like, just being able to have the money to be able to pay rent and all those things like that.
And pay off student loans.
Yeah. Yep. And the thing is if you tell me that you're going to give me, and back then I wasn't realizing, even after a few years of teaching, that you give me a $2,000 stipend to do a club or an after-school activity or $2,000 stipend to sponsor whatever or coach a team.
Yeah.
It sounded like a lot of money,
Yeah.
but what they don't remind you of is it's literally either broken up over the course of the time, which is not much money.
No.
Or you get it once at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And so it's like, all right. And then, you know, the guilt trip that comes with it is when the kids come to you.
Yeah.
Because nobody will be the club sponsor.
Yeah.
And then the kid comes into the room and they're like, Miss Rob, we really want to do this, but we have nobody to do it. Can you please?
Yeah.
And then you're like, fine. And then you
Exactly.
say yes, but you don't really mean yes.
100%. No, and it's like, I don't know. You need to have a lot of self-worth to be a teacher and sustainably be a teacher.
Yeah.
Like I think I feel like, unfortunately for me, I didn't realize that self-worth was important to being a teacher until it was pretty far gone in the first school that I was working at, where I did feel like I was getting, you know, sort of like brutalized by the admin and getting looked down on by admin as if like regardless of what I did, it wasn't good enough. And I don't know. I feel like looking back, I didn't have many people telling me not to, because it's hard to tell someone like, don't do your best, especially for teachers. Because it's like, I'm not going to look at the work that you're doing and be like, you suck. No, like I'm going to look at the work that you're doing and see that you're doing way above average and try to shout you out on that. not many people are going to tell you to stop.
Right.
You know, until they see that you're like ripping your hair out in the hallway and they're like, he needs a break.
Yeah.
You know?
And I like the point that you made about you want to make teaching sustainable. What I tell people is this career is a marathon, not a sprint.
100%.
And we have so many teachers every year that are quitting. And one of the reasons is because they're looking at it as if it's a sprint. And they have to say yes to everything. So they get so burnt out and then they quit. The first way that you make this profession a full-time career is you start saying no.
Yeah.
You start saying, if I coach every single year, if I do all these extra duties, I'm going to wear myself out and I'll be another one of those teachers that quits after 4 years.
Yeah.
That's
100%.
why we're in this situation that we're in. And one of the things that I really, really, really struggle with is coaching. And I coach right now. I coach middle school cross country, and sports have been a massive part of my life.
Yeah.
A massive part of my life. I think there's so many great things about sports. I can go into that for hours and hours and hours.
Sure.
My dad was a great coach. He coached so many different sports. Incredible coach. I saw him model it. My mom is a dance teacher. She's her own coach in her own, she's a dance coach essentially. So all my life, I watched my parents and they modeled to me that like there's so many great things about coaching.
Yeah.
And I thought all I want to do is teach and coach. I want to do that. And I remember seeing my parents living it, thinking, I want to do that. I want to do that so bad. And then in high school, I kept thinking, I want to be a coach.
Yeah.
And then I became a teacher. And I saw what these high school coaches are going through, and I have zero desire to be a high school coach.
100%.
And sports were a huge part of my life. I love sports. And one of the things about coaching is we have so many vacant coaching spots because coaches are realizing this isn't worth it anymore. This isn't worth the money. So there's a really funny story that my dad told me. He just retired from coaching this last year, just retired. And he retired from coaching soccer.
Sure.
And they were interviewing for his fill-in. And one of the people that was interviewing said, okay, how much is the pay? And my dad says, oh, the pay is $5,000. And the person that was there said, oh, a month? And he said, no, it's flat rate. Flat rate, that's how much you get as a head coach. I calculated for me as a middle school cross-country coach, which is not massively time-consuming.
Sure.
I calculated that I make about $6 an hour to do middle school cross-country coaching. And it's not super strenuous of like a thing to coach. Like some people think coaching cross-country is easy. I really buy into it. It's not as easy as people think. It's not just saying go run. Yeah. But that's still my time. It's precious time for me. It's time away from other people. And that is not a lot of money. No. So you also throw in the stress that coaches feel from parents. Yep. And people don't realize that these coaches that are coaching varsity basketball, that's a $6,000 a year job that they're doing.
Oh yeah.
Yep. That's all that they're making. So that's why we have all these coaches that are quitting.
And all these positions
because they realize it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
They can't do it.
Yeah. It's crazy when it comes down to coaching too. I noticed that when I coached track, the parents who get to a point where they get comfortable with you. Of course, you form this bond with their kid and with them. And they're like, oh, can you bring my kid home on your way? Like things like that, like setting those boundaries and saying no to things like that are also an issue. Yeah. You say yes one time, and that's one thing for all new teachers, returning teachers, veteran teachers. You say yes one time, okay? And then they're going to expect it to be a reoccurring thing. So you have to put your foot down and stand your ground.
I think what doesn't get said enough is it's not rude to respect your time.
Yeah.
Yes.
You stop getting paid.
That.
You stop getting paid at, let's say, 3:30. If someone tries to stop you when you're walking out of the door and you know that they're just going to hand you something that you know you're not getting paid for, you're just disrespecting yourself.
Oh, yeah.
And ultimately you're showing them that you're someone to walk on.
Yeah.
And you're not. I think that I became a better teacher when I started respecting who I was as a person. Because the thing is, it's like Tyler as a teacher is useless if Tyler as a person isn't fostered. Yeah. And I think that what teachers get wrong is they think that these administrators are keeping tabs on who's doing all this extra work, when in reality, most admin aren't doing that. Yeah. They have so much more to worry about. If you're able to help them with something and it actually is something you're able to do, fantastic. But when you're giving up your time to just be a human being, you're no longer helping them. You're simply giving away a part of yourself to them.
There comes the time in every teacher's career when you can bring on more stuff.
Oh, yeah.
For me, this year, that's the year for me where I'm now part of a number of different committees. I feel like I am confident enough as a teacher that I can give up a planning period once every 3 weeks to go do this committee meeting or go in early to go do this committee meeting because I also want to be a good employee. I want to be invested into my school.
Of course.
But every person is different in what they can and can't sustain. So there's also a lot of teachers that will say, hey, teachers off duty, I am less stressed out if I bring things home to work on. Okay, for some people, they need to do that. And I've met a lot of teachers that they live in that world where they want to bring stuff home and that makes it so they're less stressed out the next day. If that is you, awesome, go for it. For me, I learned there's always going to be more work.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do the best job that I can during my work hours. But I've got a lot of other stuff I have to take care of outside of those work hours. So I'm probably not every day going to be doing an hour to 2 hours worth of homework when I get home.
No.
No, and I love how you said that. Like, legit, it comes down to, one of you guys have said it, and I can't remember exactly which one, but you guys were talking about if the principals are keeping tabs. They're not, okay? The brownie points thing that we think we're getting just because we go the extra mile is not a thing.
No.
It is, and like a lot of people who are aiming for teacher of the year, which I'm so not. Like, to me, teacher of the year means that you're going to keep tabs on me and I'm going to need you to mind your business.
I'm trying to survive
So,
the year.
yeah, I want to go under the radar. I don't want nobody looking at me as an example.
I want to be there at the end of the year. Like, you kidding me?
Yeah, and so that's that's something that I just really want to hone in on. Whether you're a new teacher, a veteran teacher, and what you were saying, like, yeah, it comes a time where you get to a point where, okay, I know that I can take out my planning because I know what I'm going to be doing the next couple, classes. So, okay, fine, I'll give it but that comes with time and learning, like, your approach versus living to impress. That's why I tell people all the time, your self-esteem is reflected in your teaching.
Yeah.
So, like, when you were talking about how, like, as a person, if you're not fostering who you are, like I tell people all the time, if you don't like you, how can you expect your students to?
Of course.
Okay, so when it comes to that, you respect yourself and you set those boundaries and those standards. You are legit looking out for yourself.
Yeah.
And what that looks like for you may look different from somebody else.
100%.
The teachers who are like, I'm sponsoring 2 clubs and congratulations, boo, that is not me.
Literally, you're just wasting your own time.
Legit. Did you want a cookie?
100%.
I mean,
I
it's
came in at 6 o'clock this morning. When did you come in? I hate when teachers will do
that's
stuff
right.
like
I came
that.
in on time, okay? Like, shut up.
I wasn't
If
late
that-
today. I did the best
Don't
I
even
could.
start with me.
I did the best that I could.
Also, can I add something to what you said when you were like, you were saying that you're going to do your best job with, like, the time that you're offered. It's their job to find time for you to have a prep. And if you're not getting that time, that's their fault.
Right.
Okay? If you're bringing home work and you can't do it within your prep, there are 2 sides of it. There's the side where it's like my situation with my first school where, like, I have to walk my kids to all their specials and it takes 5 minutes each way, and that's digging into my free time. Or you can look at your time management. The difference is an admin will always pin it to your time management.
Yes.
How are you using those 30
Yes.
minutes? Well, first I have to walk the kids in 3 feet of snow, half a mile down the street, make sure I didn't lose one in a snow plow, and then I got to walk back. And it's like, the thing is, you can't be honest about it because teachers think you can't stick up for yourself, which unfortunately is the furthest thing from the truth. I started getting better at teaching when I started sticking up for myself as a teacher. And also just, like, being vulnerable enough to say, like, I need help with this.
Yeah.
And if they can't offer help, they're doing their job wrong. They are the ones who should be concerned about their job because they're not providing you prep times and causing you to have to bring home work, and also not able to give the service of assisting you during the school year.
Yeah.
That's their job.
Yeah.
And you should hold them to that expectation. You shouldn't just assume that everything that they do is fantastic because they're in an administrative position. Half of the people in administrative positions have been in teaching for under 3 years anyway.
Yeah.
And they realize they're not really into it. They might be better in an office.
Well, and like you said before, like saying no and stuff like that, there's nothing wrong with that. Like,
never.
Like somebody, I think, said no is a complete sentence.
Yep.
Like, there's no harm in that.
100%.
And the thing is one thing also is to remember is that we are not responsible for other people's feelings in that way.
No.
Look, I cannot help that you think that I should be doing more or I should be. This is what I can do, and I'm being honest about what I can do, and you have to respect that.
100%.
And I think another thing that teachers have to say no to is some days going into work. Sometimes you have to say no and say today's not. Now, one of the things that really frustrated me one time during a PD, I had someone say that same thing, but they weren't a teacher and they didn't understand what teachers go through, like what it means to say no to going into work. Like this presenter, he had some good information, but he wasn't a teacher. And he said, when I was working the job that I used to have, I remember driving to work and I just said, I can't do it today. So I turned the car around and I went home. Guess what? Teachers can't do that.
No.
We can't do that. If we just turn the car around and call into work and say, hey, I can't come into work today, you just caused chaos
100%.
for a
Yes.
lot of people.
Yes.
So teachers are like, I can't say no to going into work today because I have to make sub plans. I need seating charts. We have this big thing that we're doing in class today, and I can't make a sub do that.
Yeah.
But sometimes as teachers, you can't do it. You can't go into work that day. So have your sub plans ready. Have your sub plans ready for that day that you say, nope, not today.
Yeah.
And I need to go mind my business. I need to go take care of myself. I can't come in.
I do believe sick leave should be for mental health days.
100%.
I'm mentally sick today. I need a second. And that's another thing. Like, if we were working normal jobs with PTO and stuff like that, the amount of sick days, y'all, that I have allocated is insane.
Yeah.
But I can't obviously use it because I only get 2 personal days a year.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
People don't realize teachers get 2 personal days a year.
2.
And then if you've been in the district for 15 years, you get 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
I remember
just stupid.
But when I graduated and I was talking to other people who had just graduated, I was so ignorant to what other jobs give you in your contract because my dad was a teacher and my mom had her own business. So I thought, nobody ever gets time off.
Yeah.
Other jobs, they don't get their time off. And I remember talking with my friends who just graduated that just got jobs, and they would say, I have unlimited PTO. So wait, unlimited? And yes, I know unlimited doesn't truly mean take as much time off as you can, but you can take time off.
Right.
And then other people would say, I get 15 days of PTO a year.
Yeah.
And I say, I get 2 days of PTO.
Yep.
Now people are going to hear this clip say, well, you get summers off. Guess what? We don't get paid for summers
No.
off. We don't get paid. We get two days of paid time off in 9
year.
months.
I'm so glad you said that. Let's talk about what my summers off were for every year up until 2 summers ago. For 10 years through college, through high school, my first job I got in 8th grade. I have been working summers since 8th grade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same.
And during the school year, the only way that I could pay for my college education, and I'm still paying it off, was by working. I was a tutor in the school. I worked front desk at a gym during college, and during the weekends, every single summer that I've ever taught, I was a bartender on a booze cruise.
Really?
Okay. The day starting in May. So in May, obviously it'd be the end of the school year. So it would be the whole weekend. So I'd be working 7 days a week. On that boat, during the summer, they did the whole day. So at first the boat was used as like sort of a ferry to an island that's like a summer camp, which is sick. But we're there at 6:30 to drop them off. Then we do cruises. Okay, so we do like 5 cruises during the day. Then we do another cruise to go pick up the kids. I'm working from 6:30 in the morning until some days like 2:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Because you're there through the night bartending. That was the only way that I could afford to live in college and still hack away at a little bit of my debt. So I didn't have summers off at all. And I think the thing is, I'm not sitting here saying that I'm the only person who goes through this. This is the more common situation for teachers, but no one says it because teachers don't have the energy to fight against some idiot that's saying that, we just like kick back through the summer. The first summer that I was able to kick back during the summer, the only reason for it is TikTok.
Yeah.
That's it. And that is an absolute privilege, and I am beyond blessed and so appreciative of everything that TikTok has opened up for me in terms of like financial stability. But what the hell? You're going to like just take back those summers that I worked every single day.
Yeah.
Some days like 18-hour shifts. You're just going to act like I sat on my ass that whole time because I didn't. All right?
Yeah.
So if you're going to say, but you get summers off, ask them what they did during the summer. Because most teachers
have a job.
An average salary of $38,000 in America, we can't afford to take those summers off. We have those summers to work some other job, and we don't want to talk about it because sometimes it's embarrassing.
It's tough as a teacher when you will have the same part-time job as one of your students.
Yep.
Yeah.
You see that all the
My student was
time.
my boss.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was
Really?
I was working at a daycare after school, and so it was my student, but she got promoted, so she's my manager.
Wow.
Like I was working 4 jobs in the summer. Like that's not in the summer, year round.
Yeah.
I would get off work at 2:45 when contract hours end, and then I'd immediately turn on Instacart and then do some Instacart orders and do grocery runs.
Sure.
Then from there I would switch to Uber or Lyft, and then literally it wasn't until like now. But because of board teachers, I'm able to now just work 2 jobs, teaching and board teacher.
Yeah, it's a job.
Yeah.
And the ignorant person is going to say, well, then you should have became a teacher then. Okay, then nobody will be a teacher. You want a world where nobody is becoming a teacher?
Yep.
And the idea of teachers are becoming teachers, not for the income, for the outcome. Yeah,
Oh
I get
my
all
gosh,
I get the talking points, blah, 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 blah. People go into teaching because it's a calling.
Yeah.
And yes, we could have done a different job where we get paid significantly more money because teachers are so talented and they're such hard workers. Yeah, we could have. But our calling is to go do good for the world and be a teacher.
Yeah.
So yeah, we could have chose different jobs, but we didn't.
Yeah. Right.
So let's just elevate our job. Let's have people help us so we don't have to be working 4 jobs during the school year.
Yeah.
And everybody benefits. Won't parents want their teacher
Exactly what I was gonna say.
won't parents want their son or daughter's teacher to fully be focused on being a teacher and not have to worry about, hey, I got to bug out of school right when that bell rings because I got to go do my part-time job at Target.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then they come to school the next day and they're exhausted. Wouldn't parents probably say, yeah, I would really appreciate it if my son or daughter's teacher was well rested and not stressed out because they can't pay their bills this month?
Yeah.
Well, the amount of people that get defensive against teachers blows my mind. If anything, you should be like, oh, wow, yeah, that teacher's right. They are looking out for my kid. Like, they are present in my kid's life. They are an essential part of my kid's life. Let me support them in whatever way possible, not trying to come up with some way to argue with us about the fact that your taxes pay my paycheck. Like, how did we get from, hey, I'm here to try to do what's best for your child to, hey, I pay you to help my child? Like,
Another
what?
side of things, like when teachers complain, I think that society has created this idea that we're not allowed to complain because we chose this like selfless career and therefore it's penance for your choice. And a friggin' argument that I am so done with having is about student loans. I'm still drowning in student loans.
Yeah.
And I've had like friends of mine, I've had people on the internet, I've had like conversations with just like a bunch of different people that were like, well, that's what you get for going to college and taking on that debt. Do you not understand? I can only speak for Massachusetts because I don't know the laws everywhere else. You can't be a teacher if you don't have a teacher's license and a degree.
Right.
Yeah, we are just now starting to see the alternative certification stuff start.
Right.
And it is not a clean, polished
No.
way. Like when we went to college, that wasn't an option
No,
for us.
not at all.
No.
So it's like, the thing is, everyone's saying like, oh, follow your dreams, do something that matters. Okay, I want to, but in order to do that, I need this degree.
Yeah.
If I don't get this degree at the time, obviously, I couldn't do my job.
Yeah.
So don't talk to me about my choice to get, I'm not getting some random degree that I'm sleeping through my classes on. I need to do this in order to do the job that I love to do.
You're not going to school to go be an art major with no art talent.
Sure.
We're not asking like the pay off student loans. That's not the student loans that as teachers we're asking to get paid off. I get the conversation of, well, they took on that debt to go do a degree that or a profession that really doesn't pay a whole lot. I get that other conversation. We can unpack that later. But it's about like teachers.
Yeah.
Help us pay off our debt a little bit. You know, I think that'd be nice. And then the other thing, I like how you brought up, people want to act like teachers can't stick up for themselves.
Yeah.
In order for teachers to get a pay raise, it is so challenging.
Oh, for
there
sure.
are other jobs out there where if they feel like the employee needs a pay raise, they can go to their boss and say, I think I deserve a raise for X, Y, and Z. Public school teachers do not have that ability.
No.
A pay raise for teachers has to go through a vote.
Yeah.
The cities will vote on it to pass bonds. They have the school board who will allocate more money to teacher salaries.
Oh, yeah.
teacher pay raises don't just happen like this. I can go negotiate a raise.
Yep.
Yeah, but if they do happen, the health insurance is going to go up, so
Yeah.
it's going to make a difference anyway.
Yeah. Well,
But and the thing is I wanted to go back to what you were saying about the alternative route that wasn't available when we were. And there's a reason, because all of this, y'all, comes back full circle. Because the reason they had to create the alternative route because they couldn't get teachers because teachers can't go to school.
Yeah,
It's like all comes full circle. Like it's a merry-go-round.
And I remember after, I think it was my second year at the first school that I worked at, I remember asking my so we had like a principal vice principal format. And I remember asking them to sit down and just like talk about salaries. And I talked to them about like all the different things that we did this year and like the growth standardized test wise and just like parent approval and stuff like this. And I asked them if I could get, I remember I asked for, I think like a $5,000 pay raise. Which I like ran all the numbers for like the salary schedule in public schools and like what I'd be making at public schools and being like, well, this is where I'd be at. I'm asking for $10,000 less than what I'd be at in public school.
You didn't just pull the number out
Exactly. I
randomly.
wasn't just like, I want more. No. And they told me, they were like, well, we can give you a 3% raise, which was like $300. And you should be happy for that because she's only getting 2.5%. And I'm like, both are wrong.
Right.
Both are super wrong.
Right.
And it like felt stupid to hear them saying that. And I was sitting there. And the problem is in that time, you're like, am I ungrateful? Am I like super ungrateful for being upset about getting a raise? And then you like talk to yourself a little bit and you're like, what am I doing this for? You know, I'm not doing this for the money. And then you just forget about that for a little bit. And then all of a sudden you're deciding between rent and groceries.
Yeah.
And it's a very different conversation with yourself.
Oh, for sure.
Where you're screwed.
Yep.
You know? And it's the case for so many people. It's like sickening.
Yeah, and other careers go through it. Absolutely.
Oh,
Other
for
careers
sure.
go through it.
Yeah.
But as teachers, we're talking about what it's like being a teacher.
Oh,
we're not
yeah.
talking about
Yeah.
nurses. We're not talking about that. Every profession has their own issues, and they all go through it. And so many other professions deserve to be paid more. But we're just
Absolutely.
specifically right now talking about teachers. One of the other things that I need to say no to as a teacher is yapping during my planning period. That's one of the things that I need
Easily
to...
distracted.
I am one of the most easily yappers
Yeah.
during prep period. It'll
Yep.
be like, I've got so much to do, but I could really enjoy just talking to my friends that work next door.
Venting.
Yeah.
And it's funny because you choose between getting work done or feeling mentally prepared to do work.
Yeah.
So you're either
Yes.
ready to do nothing or you have something that you're not
Yeah.
ready to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, it's 6 to 1, half dozen the other. You're screwed either way. And it's so funny that you bring that up because I'm the same way. I can talk to anyone about anything for way too long.
And it's so funny that you said that because literally yesterday at school, I walked by this teacher's room and she had shut the door. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe she's in a meeting with a parent or whatever.
Yeah.
No, she's like, I simply shut the door because I have no type of boundaries. She's like, I would let you come in here and talk to me through my entire planning period and would never get anything done. So she had to now say no and shut the door.
You know what she did? She said yes to herself.
Wow.
Boom.
That's it. Wow.
Look at that.
Mic
See?
drop. Take this thing,
Teamwork.
throw it at the wall.
Oh, legit.
I'm going to start doing the thing where you have the sign that you put up on your door and it's going to say, please don't come in. I don't have the ability to stop yapping. Like, just letting everybody know.
Professional yapper.
Do not come in.
Yeah, 100%.
I've told my coworkers, and I get along so well with my coworkers.
Yeah.
We're all great friends, that they'll come in and I'll say, you have 90 seconds to tell me what you need to tell me, because I will burn 50 minutes and I will feel like crap the rest of the
100%.
day
Legit.
and be so far behind.
Yep.
So I could be better at saying no to yapping.
Yeah.
I definitely could.
But again, that doesn't make you rude to say that.
100%.
A lot of
Yeah.
people would think that they're being rude by saying,
Yeah.
hey, I can't talk right now. Like,
Well-
but you're not being rude. You're just being honest.
The hard part is that, like you said it yourself, you're really close with your coworkers.
So I can say no.
The thing is, like, I came into a new school at the beginning of last year, and it was like, I didn't know people well enough to be like, if you don't shut up, I won't shut up. And then neither of us will shut up. And then I will get nothing done for like the rest of eternity.
Yeah.
But it's like, for instance, this past school year, there was like my co-teacher who taught like this, not like in the same class, but the same grades and subjects. He was like a 38-year veteran teacher. he is the person I should be listening to. And he would come over knowing that I wanted to talk about curriculum because it was my first time delving into like 11th and 12th grade curriculum. And I knew that he was only having that conversation because he knew I needed it. But I also needed to work, you know, like the conversation is incredibly valuable, but I also need to get something done so that I have a tangible product to teach.
Yeah.
Because I
can
can
do
be
my
like, yes,
job.
I know Macbeth top to bottom, and I have nothing planned. I can get in front of these kids and be like, yeah. And the kids are like, and you have 86 more minutes left in the period, and I'm like, crap.
Do you do block scheduling?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have
same.
85
Oh,
minute
you guys
periods.
do block?
Yeah.
Dude, I've never done block.
Yeah, 90-minute.
Whoa.
What do you do?
We do 50 minutes, 48 minutes or
middle
something.
school, right?
Yeah, middle school.
middle school. Our middle schools do 50.
So, and the great thing about that is, let's say for whatever reason, I'm slightly underprepared and I
Sure.
need to burn 15 minutes.
Yeah.
You can find creative ways
Oh,
to
for sure.
not burn 15 minutes, but creatively have a productive 15 minutes.
Book
I
it?
feel like, book it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
We're going to have this
love
for
book it.
25 minutes.
Oh my
But
God,
I
I
feel like
love
for
it.
block scheduling, you have to be ready to
Oh,
go.
yeah.
Yeah.
You can't just wing block
Yeah.
scheduling.
100%.
Well, and I think, honestly, if anybody ever has to question whether or not when to say yes and when to say no, look at a teacher retiring that year.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I can tell you right now, anything that they're saying no to is probably something you could get away with saying no to too.
It's
but we
true.
just often think, well, we don't have tenure or we don't have whatever.
Yeah.
Like we can't risk losing and not getting a contract renewed. No, you can risk standing up for yourself. Like
I think that like the harsh reality of teaching right now, for now, is the pay that we get is at a governmental level. And that's not going to change until there are substantial changes in reallocation of funds that, unfortunately, the reality of it is it's not that close. So from a pay side of things, to make you feel appreciated, I wouldn't hold your breath.
right.
But I think that what you can do on the flip side of it is you can start respecting yourself, because if you come into the classroom on your own team, you're going to be a happier teacher. In a similar way to like if you were making the money that you deserve to make, then all the little stuff that you hate about your job won't really mean that much. So if you're not making the money that you deserve and you're not treating yourself with respect, all you're doing is like double kicking yourself while you're down.
Yeah.
And you're just like creating this breeding ground of negativity in the school. And yes, you can absolutely burn yourself out. 100% is the easiest thing in the world for teachers. But you can also really damage your mental health.
Oh, yeah.
Like I think it was like 2 episodes ago, I talked about like my journey with anxiety. And obviously that's not just from teaching. Like I think it had a lot to do with it because I hold myself to a high expectation and everyone around me holds me to a high expectation. But also it's like that put me in the hospital.
Yeah.
You know, that put a loop recorder in my chest.
Yeah.
You know, that put me on medication for anxiety because I couldn't get a grip on it. And I think that that's a scary slope. And while I'm cool now, we're chilling, I don't want that for other teachers. And I don't want that for young teachers who have been in love with the idea of doing this job for their entire lives because they deserve to be able to enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing is, the sooner you start prioritizing yourself, the sooner you're going to be able to really enjoy it while we figure out the whole allocation of budget for teachers.
Yeah.
So right now, in a profession as teachers, we are evolving. You don't know when you are changing until you look back and say, wow, we have really changed.
Yeah.
As a career and as a profession, we are evolving.
Yep.
And it's fun to be in that right now. There's some parts where it is fun. There's some parts where it's not fun.
Yeah.
How do we speed up the evolution of what it is to be a teacher and what our job is? It's by saying no. It's by saying no to things.
Yeah.
It's by saying, hey, I understand that as a profession, we did this thing this way for the last 50 years.
Yeah.
Guess what? Things have changed.
Yeah.
We can do things a little bit differently now. We have a thing called technology.
Yep.
We have a thing called AI. We have a thing called an online gradebook or online platforms
Yep.
for posting our assignments. We are changing.
Yeah.
So when we start saying no, we're not going to do whatever you're asking,
Yeah.
and with valid reasons why we
Yeah.
say no
Yeah.
to that speeds up the change.
Oh, for sure.
Yep.
For sure. And that's the thing, too. It's just an FYI to teachers who are one of those ones who are like hoping to get the brownie points and gets the pats on the back so they can get Teacher of the Year. Just an FYI, the incentive for getting Teacher of the Year, and especially in, I don't know about anywhere else, but in our district, is $1,000.
Yep.
That's all you get. I'm just saying.
To be the best.
If that's the goal, boo, I need
think-
you to change your goals.
We need, like, a part of that saying no is like, we need to stop putting administrators on a pedestal and looking at them as these evaluators. They're employees of the school as well. Their job is to come in and support you and implement change to make the school better.
Yeah.
Not to tell you what you're doing wrong.
And good admin will do that.
Yeah.
Good admin
I had
absolutely
an
will.
amazing administrator this past year. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Nothing was personal. Everything was focused on the betterment of the school.
Yeah.
Before that, I have had nightmares.
Yeah.
I have had admin that I know straight up did not like me for who I am, and they brought that into the workplace.
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
And you know what? All that did was breed negativity.
Yeah.
And when you breed negativity for a teacher, they're going to bring that negativity to the students, and then you have a wave of just horrible.
Yeah, because our admin made sure that we knew at the beginning of this school year coming that it is not about gotcha moments.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm not looking to see I gotcha, I
Yeah.
caught you, I whatever. It's not about gotcha moments, and that needs to be definitely communicated
100%.
across the board.
Yeah. Okay, so we've talked about things to say no to. What are
Yeah.
the things that teachers should say yes to? And that's a hard question. That's a very hard question.
Yeah.
Collaboration.
Oh, 100% share.
PLC.
Yes.
We hate acronyms, but
I
it
hate
works.
calling it that. No, like legitimately being
Yeah.
willing to be vulnerable, because teachers have this like idea that they need to be like cool with every situation and have an answer for every question and have like a plan every single day. You don't. And you're not going to.
Yeah.
You have things you don't understand. And the sooner that we can get rid of the stigma of like teachers want to pretend that they have everything ready, be vulnerable. Be like, listen, I don't know what to do right here. You've been teaching for 17 years. What would you do? And stop acting like that makes you smart and me dumb.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't. It makes you smart and then me, by proxy, smarter.
Yeah.
You know? So why can't we both go up? You know? And I think the collaboration, the PLC is just forced.
Yeah.
It's saying, I'm going to sit you with her
Yeah.
for 30 minutes and you guys can do whatever you want. She'll probably lesson plan and I'll probably have an anxiety attack. That's it. It's
And then the other
forcing.
teacher is going to sit on their phone.
It's
Legit.
forced
Yeah,
collaboration.
for
We
sure.
need to be
Yeah.
open to it so
Yeah.
that we're not like, haha, Julie asked for help.
Yeah.
Yeah, the good PLC model is when everybody is on board.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you can actually get something from one another and,
Yep.
and have that conversation and have those dialogues of how can we make this improvement for all of us.
Yeah.
And in any PLC, you are going to have some teachers that are better at preparing lessons. Some will be better at captivating the students and making the lesson engaging. Sometimes you'll have the teacher who's just good at building relationships. All of them have a skill set in a different area,
Yeah.
and you can all gain something from that.
Absolutely.
But that is if you execute that collaborative
Yeah.
ability well. Not all PLCs work that way.
Well, and not just PLCs in general, but say yes to community, period.
Exactly.
Because some teachers get in their heads where I don't need anybody, I got this, or
Yep,
whatever.
I did that.
No, say yes to community. Find your tribe, find your people, find your teacher bestie. Say yes to mental health and prioritizing your mental health. Say yes to self-care. Self-care is essential in whatever format that looks like for you. If it's just, hey, I'm at home watching a movie,
Yep.
after school, instead of going home and taking, catching up on grades, prioritizing your mental health and self-care, because ultimately that's going to contribute just as more to you than anything else.
I think teachers also have to say yes to venting.
Yes.
You have to vent. You have to vent.
Careful who you vent to, though.
That is true.
Some people's a snitch.
Yeah.
That's
I done
what
learned
needs-
that the hard way. I'm
that's
like,
what needs to
listen,
change.
I don't even care if you're a teacher. Snitches
That's
still
the
get
thing.
stitches. I mean, I'm not violent.
If you feel like
Getting a little violent.
you're in this like dictatorship in your school where if you say something to the wrong person, you're screwed, immediate red flag. Immediate red flag. It's really not that hard to be able to say like, listen, teaching is a really difficult job. It is. You're dealing with 30 people's kids.
Yeah.
At a time, and
Right.
then multiply that by 4 classes
Yeah.
every single day for
Yep.
the majority of the day. It's hard.
Yeah.
So I think that if you can actually take away the preconceived punishment for actually vocalizing issues, and again pull administrators off of a pedestal and start looking at everybody as equal, you can actually make movements.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like for me, venting is so good because it feels good to release it. Now, if you have the teacher who comes in every single class period, every single day, and is just constantly complaining, it's like, hey, maybe we have to change some things here.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a reason why
Yeah.
things aren't going well. But I've had times where I've gone into teachers' classrooms and just said, hey, I need to vent for a little bit. I need to vent. I got to let this go. don't give me any advice here. I just want to tell you what's going on.
Exactly.
There's a time for venting, and then there's also a time for solution-based conversations.
Right.
Where I try to, for the most part, have solution-based conversations, but I've had meetings with teachers as well where I've said, hey, I don't have a solution here.
Yeah.
I just need to tell you what the problem is. Can we all work together and solve it?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's an age-old thing. It's like, if we can come together and actually learn from each other without judgment from every single person in the school, education can completely change.
Absolutely.
Oh, for
You'll
sure.
have happier teachers, therefore happier classrooms, happier students, and then education won't have this
Negative
dark
stigma.
cloud over it. It's crazy.
We're evolving, and we keep the evolving by saying no
We're
to
gonna
things.
freaking
We
evolve.
do.
Yeah.
It's gonna
We
be
do.
amazing.
Thank you for tuning in to Teachers Off Duty this week. What are things that you recommend teachers say no to and things that you recommend teachers say yes to? I'll see you guys next week.
See ya.